Guys, it's Friday afternoon, just after 1. And first off, I want to thank new subscribers, but just as importantly, more so, even, I think, is the subscribers that have been here since the beginning, supporting me, um, cheering on my reps, listening to me ramble on live sections. Um, that takes a lot of, takes a lot of patience, um, and it takes a friend. You know, not everyone's willing to come here and listen to a guy ramble on about all kinds of stuff. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the ones who've been showing up for a little over a year now, and the ones who are just showing up now. Um, I've mentioned several times when I started the channel, I thought, if 30 people subscribed, that would be probably 29 more than I absolutely deserve. Um, here I was, a maybe slightly past middle aged guy, uh, half naked, barefoot shoes. At the time, I still had my scraggly ponytail. Um, and I would hit some reps every day and then sit down and talk about weird stuff. Um, who would have thought that eventually there'd be 300 plus? Osiris is here. Hey, Derek, how are you? Um, so it's been an interesting, again, it's been just over a year since I started posting. The only reason I ever had a YouTube channel to begin with was um, years ago, a few years ago, getting my meditation teacher certification. I had to make videos um, of me teaching meditation. And then it came in handy when I became a breathwork coach. And then, thanks to people like Osiris, thanks to people like Nick, who I wish he would post a video or an update sometime soon, um, and Paul from Oregon and others, you know, I'm doing the reps. So why not record it, if only for my own video blog of, what I'm doing workout wise. Speaking of which, was considering some changes, taking a day off in between burpee sessions. But right now, with the newly discovered and Richard Runs Trails inspired, who in turn was inspired by Iron Wolf, um, I'm going to do like some of those drill sessions, 12 minutes, working with a decent pace. And then every few workouts, I'm going to throw in my 20-minute session. Every few workouts, I'm going to throw in a 30-minute, 40-minute, maybe even an hour session. Um, I then just back it off again down to 12, see how it goes. Um, and then, if I decide to take that day off, um, a streak is only good if you're willing to break it, if that makes sense. Because otherwise, it's a rut. The impressive thing is showing up every day because you want to do it, showing up every day because that's what you do. And even if I took a day off from burpees, I'd still be showing up. I'd still be doing something. I would still be running, walking. Um, I'd still be doing my anywhere from 1 to 3 time a day yoga practice, which has been the thing that's been wearing me out just a bit. Um, I've been doing some deep back bend work. Whenever I say something like deep back bend, that means deep for me. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm the bendiest yogi in the world. I'm certainly not. Um, at one point, I could do a lotus, things like that. But now, you know what? I have a meditation bench. Um, I use that. I don't have any desire to um, stretch myself in that way any longer. My path of yoga has taken a more subtle shift and has to do more with energy. You almost get to the point where you feel like each individual cell, each individual atom and particle is being taken from the body and shined, energized, lit up by the sun, and then placed back in the body. It's an amazing feeling, but at the same time, um, because I'm approaching it hard, at least 2 times a day. My evening session, uh, it's meant to help me relax and get ready to go to sleep. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to do a short video on the half cow face pose, which is you won't hear me very often use a Sanskrit name because, for one, what's the point? No one really knows why you're saying it like that. For two, it's bad enough that I mispronounce English words, let alone going into an ancient sacred language and butchering that as well. So I fight my battles, um, where and what I'm going to mispronounce. Every so often I'll throw in, if I can remember it, and if I think I can get away with saying it semi-correctly, I'll throw in some Sanskrit stuff. The half cow face pose is really opens up the shoulders, and it's been doing me a lot of good. So I thought it might be helpful for anyone who needs to decompress the shoulders. Um, and it's common. You see athletes do it all the time. It's interlocking one hand behind, the other hand behind here, and interlocking your fingers. However, the yogic approach to doing it, probably slightly different, as well as the energetic reasons, not just stretching the shoulders, stretching the triceps, opening up the chest, but it opens up the energy centers in the body, heart chakra. You do a full, deep yogic breath. Yogic breath is when you breathe in through the belly, you fill your chest, and you fill your throat. And then you exhale, belly, chest, throat. And when you do that, it really opens up the chest, it opens up the spine, it improves your lung capacity. It's a wonderful pose. You can do it 30 seconds each side. And again, a lot of people that I know are suffering some shoulder issues. Maybe not an injury, but definitely verging on that impingement, the overwork. So it may be helpful to some of my burpee friends, as well as those who do a lot of vertical lifting. Personally, I found that overhead lifting always suited me fine. And I was stronger proportionately in an overhead lift than I ever was vertical pressing. Horizontal pressing on my back. So for some people who may not be enjoying bench, or the bench might not be enjoying them, maybe it's better. It used to be the overhead press was the king of lifts. That was if you met someone in a bar, they didn't say how much you can bench. When they said, what can you lift? They meant, what can you put over your head? To me, that's very impressive. I think it also has more athletic carryover than benching, because we are seldom ever in that position where bench press, maybe if you're an offensive lineman, and even then I would think an incline press would be better. As well as if you're an athlete training for something, you have to start thinking in terms of how Tom Brady approached it and how Dan John coaches people. You want to be a strong athlete, not a strong man. How strong do you have to be a quarterback? You want to be as strong as you can to be a quarterback, but not stronger to the point where you're facing issues correspondent to that strength gain, lack of flexibility, lack of mobility, and more time being injured possibly. Any coach, rule number one, get your player to the field healthy. If you don't, you haven't really done your job. Since most of us, anyone who watches this channel, we're going to be self-coached, rule number one, get yourself on the burpee mat healthy. Spend time prehab, spend time rehab. And when I say rehab, I don't necessarily mean fixing an injury, but fixing your body so it doesn't get injured. Doing the things, doing the mobility work, doing the stretches, preferably because I'm a yoga teacher, do yoga. But do what works for you. Get in some foam rolling. Get in some deep stretch you, deep um, deep work as far as like if you Milk as a massage therapist. So back when I was doing some heavy stuff, that was good. But if you can get a deep tissue massage, go for it. It's invaluable to any kind of healing work. Destiny Forever Walks PhD is here. Happy Friday, Eric. Happy Friday and weekend. I am listening in today. I am in and out of meetings at the moment. Still listening though. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate your effort on my behalf to get me over 300. Probably next week, I'm going to attempt the 300. I'd like to say 300 unbroken burpees. We'll see. So I was saying that I'm not the bendiest of yogis, and that's not really my interest. It is to get the full benefit of the yoga asanas, the yoga postures, because it's deep value to your health, to your immune system, to your cardio system, to reducing your stress level, as well as preparing your body energetically for those longer times on the meditation cushion or bench. So the whole 8 limbs of yoga, it's a seamless path. You don't just do one. If you're just doing yoga asanas and you're not practicing the whole path, then basically you're stretching. If you're not doing yoga, if you're doing the yoga asanas and you are not doing it where you're opening yourself up to the energetic potentials, you're just stretching, getting in a workout. Good for you, excellent for you. But why not go the whole 9 yards? Which I never understood. Shouldn't it be the whole 10 yards? The whole 100 yards? I don't know, the whole mile? But do the whole thing and then see what you can get out of it. Remember the 8 limbs of yoga start. The very first yama, ethical principle, or restraint. How we restrain ourselves from certain behavior for our overall benefit. And it's really amazing to see how it plays out. The very first one, there's 5 yamas, 5 niyamas. The niyamas are more broadly speaking how we, they're not restraints, but things we do versus the restraints of the yamas. The number 1 yama, ahimsa, non-harming. Number 1 for a reason. It sets off the entire path of yoga. Don't harm yourself. So important. As soon as we say non-harming, as soon as we say ahimsa, we think in terms of pacifism, being a pacifist. It has little to do with pacifism. Dr. Martin Luther King, one of my favorite people to talk about, practiced ahimsa. He learned it from studying Gandhi. Gandhi, in turn, learned it from his yoga study of the Bhagavad Gita. And neither one of those men were passive in the least. Dr. Martin Luther King marched in the face of extreme opposition. And when I mean extreme, I'm talking about attack dogs. I'm talking about billy clubs. I'm talking about nightsticks. I'm talking about severe beating, imprisonment, threats to his life, and eventual assassination. What possibly resembles passivity in that description? Let's see. Destiny Forever Walk says, "You're welcome, Eric. Sorry, you deserve it. Great channel you have. People that visited you and came back and said you were how great your transformation video was. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It helps to be inspired. You and I have talked about that a great deal. And when I talk about things like that, when I talk about things like this, when I talk about Gandhi, Dr. Martin Luther King, how can you not be inspired by the great things that they inspired towards, too? The fight of our lives that's still going on. The fight wasn't over when Gandhi gained independence for his nation. It's just beginning. The fight wasn't over when the Civil Rights Act was signed. It's just beginning. Amazing to me that politicians these days will say, it's over. We've achieved it. We have equality. And then redistrict voting um, districts in order to disenfranchise people of color from their vote. And then we say that we are post-racist society, and we're not even close. We're better, great strides, but we're not there yet. And we have to continue. We have to continue that journey. So, ahimsa, non-harm, non-violence, begins with ourselves. Don't harm yourself. By not harming, are you eating right? Are you exercising? Are you getting some natural sunlight just a little bit every day? Are you doing yoga? Are you getting some deep tissue work? Are you getting enough sleep? Has as much to do with you as it has to do with anyone else. Yes, we want to respect not harming anyone else, including animals. So if you not a vegan or a vegetarian, at the very least, start considering where your food comes from. Can you clean it up a little bit? Can you eat free-range chicken? Can you eat grass-fed beef? Can you get cage-free eggs? Can you eat wild fish? Can you hunt for your own meat? Little things that you start with. I didn't start out as a vegan. Boy, I was an avowed meat eater. But I also worked on a farm as a kid, or as a teen, I should say. And I also hunted, came from a big family of hunters. Couldn't wait until I could hunt when I was a kid. And as soon as I did, I thought, why did I wait so long for this? To destroy something. I'm not anti-hunting, though. And I'm not anti-eating meat if you eat meat. But spend some time thinking about where your food came from. And that makes a huge difference in your health because you start making healthier decisions. I'm not going to go into the whole list of the yamas with the non-harming, non-stealing, non-lying, because it's like going down a rabbit hole. You keep uncovering how deep it actually goes. And as I always say, the deeper we get, the deeper we see it goes without end. We can always find ways of expanding our ahimsa. And as it expands, so does our power, true power, not force. We don't become more forceful, we become more powerful, especially the non-lying, because it has such a profound impact, not just on our outer life, but our inner world as well, because we start thinking of those little lies that we tell ourselves, little white lies as well. It doesn't just mean avoiding lies, it also means avoiding gossip, avoiding things along those nature, avoiding bad mouthing others, even those that we don't like. What an important concept. And what a great way to heal the world. If I can no longer view you, if I can't say those things about you, believing them true or not, because one, I'm practicing non-harm, two, I'm practicing speaking the truth, speaking only what's necessary as far as what needs to be told, I automatically heal our relationships, reach across the aisle, because I'm no longer in a defensive mode. I'm no longer worried about what you have to say about me. Something we definitely need. We live in a heated political climate, and it's just getting worse. And I don't see any getting better anytime soon, sadly. But I think if more people began practicing the true path of yoga, or simply meditating, opening yourself, um, everything changes. The amazing thing to me is when you start seeing the patterns that we live by. I talked the last couple sessions about the kleshas, which are the um, sort of the submodalities of the brain that drive our influence us in our daily lives, and we just don't even realize it. We are pulled towards attraction. We are pushed away from aversions. We avidya, Sanskrit word meaning ignorance. We're ignorant of how that happens. We're ignorant of all these inner forces that are pulling us and pushing us, and it grooves in this pattern. So every time we're triggered, and we're almost always triggered, it puts the needle in that groove and it plays the same old song. And then we get upset and we say, why did I do that? I no longer want to behave this way, but I can't help it. I keep acting out in this manner. It's because you keep putting that needle in the groove, and you've done nothing ever to either take the needle out or erase the groove. The only way you do that is with awareness. The only way you realize that you are already aware, meditation or self-inquiry or deep prayer, or finding some means of attaining a degree of interior silence, being out in nature, not just being in nature, but being silent in nature, listening to this, you being silent, listening to the sounds that surround you, doing your best not to make commentary. I always mention Anthony de Mello, the Jesuit priest who was East Indian, born a Hindu, steeped in yogic culture, but he was drawn towards Christianity. He was a wonderful priest, but he still had these the concepts of yoga that he brought with him. And he tells a story, originally told by J. Krishnamurti, about once when we were kids, we looked up in the sky and we saw this wonderful winged, furry ball soaring in the sky, playfully, using the breeze, gaining altitude, diving down, grabbing bugs, landing on a branch. Just a miraculous flying creature that we couldn't get enough of. And an adult walked up to us one day and said, it's a sparrow. Gave it a name, gave it a description, and the magic was gone. We no longer saw this magical fuzzy creature soaring in the sky. We saw a sparrow, and we think, sparrows, I've seen them. Meh, no big deal. And we lose that little bit of innocence that we had as a kid. Did you ever see the very last Calvin and Hobbes panel? When one day Calvin looks at Hobbes and sees a stuffed tiger, stuffed animal, no longer his companion, no longer his friend. A little bit of innocence gone. Now it was just a toy. Saddest thing ever. I'm not saying that we always need to hold on to the imaginary flight that we have as a child, but holding on to that, being able to return to that innocence is not a bad thing at all. So when we give something a description, and when we rely solely on that description and not on the thing itself, that's the mind of Zen, the thing itself, not the description. Then that magic returns and we gain that sense of interior silence. So we go out in nature and we listen, but we don't have to label everything. We don't have to label bird, cricket, cicada. Just listen. and we find that we return to silence. When we return to silence, we start seeing how these forces of aversion, forces of attraction, shape our lives without us ever even realizing it. I'm attracted to this behavior, so I act in this way. I'm repulsed by this behavior, so I act this way. That's not free will. That's being pushed and pulled by long held forces within the body and within the mind. If you want real freedom, just see, just witness, be the witness of how all this works, how it's all happening. And just with that awareness, which is already present, remember everything that we think is just a description. It's not who we are. Who we are is the witness to those thoughts. Relax in that. That's what Nisargadatta Maharishi says, and I am that seminal classic. You're the witness to the thought. You're the witness to the action. It's what the Tao Te Ching says, there is no doer. Same as in the Bhagavad Gita. There is no doer. There's only the witness to the doing, and that's who we are. Everything is done through us. Actionless action. Now, when I can finally apply that to my burpees, get 256 counts and 120 Navy SEALs, actionless action, effortless effort, then I'll be a proud yogi. All right, guys. So, coming up on half an hour, trying to keep things tight in the conversations, which isn't difficult because I ramble all over the place. Obviously, no need to tell you guys that. So I'm going to wrap it up. Everyone have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. I'll be back tomorrow. Still considering the changes that I'm going to make as far as the workouts. But we'll see. Ryan says, life is good, my guy. Thanks. Or actually, I'm happy to hear that because life is good, and I'm happy that you have that awareness. Make things considerably easier, doesn't it, when you know that? All right, guys. So, again, I'm going to wrap it up, and I will see everyone tomorrow. Destiny Forever says, thanks, Eric. Great discussion. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend too, my friend. And look forward to seeing the posts that you put up, the treadmill dancing and the strong rope work that you've been doing. Ryan says, have a good day. You have a good day too, my friend. Osiris, I will see you later. Take care, everyone.